Glad you stand with me for that. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time, I will open the meeting up for public comment. Please limit your comment to 3 minutes per person. And state your name and address for the record, please. Any public comment? Go ahead.
At the last meeting, Commissioner Watts.
We'll state your name and address.
Excuse me, Chuck Ketterman, 100 Hog Isle Road. And Commissioner Watts was present by phone and seemed to express urgency in receiving answers to the list of questions that you folks have put out concerning sale of the railroad. And it brought up a question in my mind, if there's something that new has precipitated this, or some reason of urgency. If there's something the public should know about that whole concept. The staff currently has obviously a lot of responsibility and a lot of jobs that they're doing. I was just wondering why the pressure on the staff to hurry this up seemed to be the Commissioner Watts over the phone. It was seen of something so important to the county as selling the railroad. You would want thorough, thought out answers to the questions you have, as opposed to hurry up answer.
I can answer that if you would like, Mr. Commissioner. Go ahead. So no, there's no any other urgency than it was a couple, 2.5 years ago or 2 years ago when we started this endeavor. It was more of a probably just how I operated as a business. Say, hey, where are we at with this? Let's just keep moving on it to apply pressure on it. I too want it done correctly, and I too think it's super important that we do the right decisions at the right times. So that's all it was at that time. Never has been different, and going forward, it will not be any different than that going forward. So no hidden agenda, no nothing, except for, hey, let's get rolling on this. Let's keep moving on these things. It doesn't matter if it's this or whatever we have in motion. So it just happened to be that's a huge topic currently, and it's been going on for quite a while. So I was like, hey, let's maintain a focus on there. Just make sure that that's kind of my view on it. I don't speak for the other commissioners. That was just my view of saying, I'd like to see as much information as soon as possible so that we can go over it, so that we can relay it to the community. That would say.
Any other public comment in the room? And is there any comment on Zoom? Okay, we will get into our regular agenda items then, beginning with approving of the minutes. Have commissioners had an opportunity to review the minutes from last month's meeting?
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll follow that up with second it.
So we have a motion to approve the May 14th, 2025 meeting minutes. Those in favor respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved.
You already signed this or?
Yep, that's you, you're secretary.
Okay. Moving on to reviewing our monthly budget report and approval of vouchers. Is there anything we need to know?
Nothing of importance. We seem to be doing well. We've got plenty of cash on hand. Just vouchers of interest on the list. Let's see. Blue Mountain Irrigation and Landscaping, we did have about $500 repair for back when the fiber was put in, it damaged the water line in someone's yard and was discovered, so. They all had to sign waivers, saying that if damage occurred and they hadn't showed us where the line was, it was their problem. However, this was a situation where it was the owner of the home that got the notice. And then after the work was getting done, the renters bought it. So it was like this cross. So we did not feel like it was, we just felt like the right thing to do was to fix it. So we did. CJ Bookkeeping and Tall Town Design, those are all payments for some of the classes Shane's been putting on that are paid for by the WSMA grant that we received. So that's just passed through. The $20,000 to CWW, the Columbia Walla Walla Rail Line, is the match that we pledged for the project for the tie and crossing replacement project. So that has been paid to the rail operator. I don't really see anything. Oh, Stepwell Strategies, that is a grant we're working on with Phil for funding for the grain cluster development. And WPPA at the bottom, that was spring meeting. Their meetings are getting expensive, and I have shared that sentiment with WPPA. But I know everybody's costs are going up, so. And then as far as the budget report goes, it's 50% of the year on the expense side. The income side, you can't quite count it 50% because we still haven't gotten all the income yet from leases for the month. But if you take that 50% year into account, the line items on the expense side that I would call to attention. Office equipment's a little high, but I don't really think it's a problem. I don't know why. We feel like the expenses for the printer are really high. Printing is really high. We are probably gonna have to look at it. We're leasing it, but when the agreement is up, we might have to look at other options because it seems like it has increased quite a bit. Utilities are a little high. That's probably because we didn't account for the city bills going up back in October of last year. Didn't know about it. Consultants is a little high, but that was just that one bill in January. Curb Craft Malt, Architecture and Engineering and Construction, that's because of the equipment pass-through funds. Those are just pass-through funds though, so it's budget neutral. Broadband Maintenance and Operations, there's a $25 charge from March for work 0DB did that puts us over budget, but they paid us for it. It was wait a minute, so the county paid us for it. So it's also budget neutral. So those are really the only ones that are anywhere near 50% or more. And then on the income side, we're doing just fine. There's a couple of tenants we're keeping an eye on, but that's pretty typical. Otherwise, got 60% of our tax money for the year. Yeehaw. Yeah, so unless you have questions, there's just nothing extraordinary there.
Any questions? No, thank you.
None
Is this
here.
on diff-
And you will need to
Paper?
sign wrap it a little thicker,
Yeah,
like a little nicer.
yeah. It's easy to read. So, again, I like that. See, it's a little.
Good job, Tracy.
Yeah, I think that was just my mistake.
That you
Don't
bought
think that-
thicker
Yeah, I
paper?
don't think I.
Well, it was a good mistake.
I don't know if I can redo it, but we'll try. I'll keep the wrapper for it.
Okay, next item is the annual report.
Okay, so this is the report that is prepared by our accounting firm in coordination with Tracy and I. And the numbers from this report are used to make our annual report to the state of Washington, which is required by law. So the only thing I would draw your attention to, you've seen these over the years. Page 4 just shows our year-end, our ending cash balance. And I would like to say with pride that I had estimated we'd end the year with $500,000 and it was $507,021. Woo-hoo, it's pretty good. And then, as you read through it, we did have to make a few changes this year, based on the federal audit. They had some improvements they wanted us to make to the report using some different templates for some of the financial reporting. We are also now reporting our, vacation as a liability. It should have been on our liability schedule and was not, and that is page, nope, that's not the right one. I don't remember which
Yeah,
schedule it is,
I
the
think-
10?
yeah.
Okay,
up at the top. Hers.
well, but page, it's schedule 9, it doesn't have a page number. Page 18?
It might be under the.
Yeah, page 18. That shows, because if someone were to leave with vacation on the books, they can get paid out. We don't pay out sick leave, but we do pay out vacation. So it just is showing up now. That is something that so it's called compensated absences, 259.12. So that's a new item in the report. Otherwise, it is the same. Oh, the bad news is the federal threshold for an audit is 750,000. And we expended 791,226. So we
Did it have another,
40,000 over.
have another
Have Another
federal
federal audit
that we get paid for?
that we get a pay for. Yeah. So I had to make contact with them. I've already done so. So they're just waiting for some information from me and probably schedule it later in the year. So any questions?
I got a quick question on your annual leave. Your vacation that you're talking about, that is there a cap? Do you have to? Do you
We
guys
will
have
not pay out more than 1 month's worth if you leave.
a
So if you
vacation?
hadn't used it, you would lose it, yeah.
How much vacation? Remind me what, is it 1 day a month or
Well, it varies on
A year?
the employee.
depends
Yeah.
on how
so
much time you have, yeah.
Exactly, so I think I earn like I don't remember, 1.5 days per month.
So you can,
So,
here you're right, you can save up 4 weeks.
yeah,
of
we don't,
Vacation,
you don't lose your vacation if you don't use it,
okay,
but you won't get paid out for more than 4 weeks.
that was the question, so
And that
at
is
least
in
you
our
know,
policy.
this is the top, right?
That's why we can estimate
Okay,
the liability, yeah.
very good, thank you.
Used to be we paid out sick leave too, but I recommended eliminating that a few years ago because it doesn't, sick leave is so people will stay home when they're sick, not to save it up and get paid out when they leave.
Mhm,
So,
that's pretty standard.
Yeah.
I recommend using vacation. I mean, life is short.
oh, remember that.
Life work balance.
Right?
We won't get any disagreement from this side of the table.
We're just not very good at it. but we need to be better at it.
Okay, there's nothing for us to find on that.
No.
So, do we have any leases?
We do. We have 3 leases. Okay, so first is just a renewal for Mash Cheer Cider. They rent Suite H at Blue Mountain Station. So this is a renewal at the same rental rate, right? Or did we raise that one?
No,
I can't remember. It was the same, yeah. But they were already at the higher rate there.
We need to vote on these or?
No, just
Just
sign.
sign 'em.
Your signature is your approval, so. You can sure ask me questions though if you need to. The second one is a new lease with Ray's Roast because Ray's Roast did sell. And the new owners are still calling it Ray's Roast. It's an LLC. So this lease is with Ray's Roast LLC. And that is also for 1 year. And I think the rental rate might have gone up just a touch. Yeah, this one did go up. Yeah. And the last one is a new lease. So Tima, the building at the far end of Cameron Street, He has decided to move his trucking company, to his home base. It's Byron Sini, and he's got a lot of land and, I think he's using the old Wilbur Ellis building at Huntsville for that trucking business. But Kyle's not towing, but, demolition has been using the shop, I guess, with Byron's permission to work on his equipment. So he's asked if he could enter into a lease with us for that building. So that is what this one is, and it was 2 years, wasn't it, Tracy? Yeah, this one was 2 years, and we did raise the rent on that building because it had been a little bit since we had, so. Yeah, 2-year lease for Kyle's demolition. There will not be cars that are towed stored on that site. That is the goal, is to not have that happen. Is that it? Okay, that's it.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on to update on port assets, beginning with Rockville Industrial Park.
Okay, I had something I was gonna talk about, now I can't remember what it was. We finally got the weed sprayer to come and take care of the weeds. But, what did we do in the industrial park? Isn't there something?
Well, public bullets, we just fix them.
Oh, yeah, just an HVAC, public bullets. I cannot remember, I did not write it down, so I cannot recall what I wanted to talk about. But when it, oh, I know, Jordan Henderson with, Jordan Henderson Fine Arts has been a renter at Cameron Co-working for 5 years, and he moved out, so he built a studio at home. So he was wonderful to have, so I just wanted to let you know that he did move out of that bigger, the old tech room in that building, that was the old Vestas building, so the back part, so we'll, get that ready to lease out again. And we do have an inquiry on another space in the co-working building, so that's what I wanted to tell you.
How many open spaces do we have? Just,
Just
Yeah.
one small office and then now that.
Yeah.
We do have there's one other office that's open, but we're using it for fiber supplies. You know, we're still handing out drops and have these things that go on the house, and we have got to have a place for them, so.
Right.
If push came to shove, I suppose we could find another spot for them and rent out that suite. So we do go ahead and show it to people if they're interested, but we're not actively advertising it.
Okay.
And that's it for Rock Hill, yeah.
For Rockville. But mine is very marina since we're here.
Yes, that's the fun part. So, why don't we just, I'll give a quick update on the Columbia Park morages and then we can turn it over to you and you can introduce people and.
Okay.
So, we have been trying our best to, I think I told you at the last meeting about the morages that were available at Columbia Park in the Tri-Cities. We've been trying our best to figure out how we could replace the sea moorage with those morages. It's not looking hopeful. They do not fit on the existing pilings, and it would take probably driving 6 new pilings to place those there. I did finally talk to them today, Joanne, and he said it would be between 50 and 60,000 to drive the pilings.
Okay.
But that's not the biggest problem. The problem is the permit from the Corps of Engineers to work in the water. I have prepared a real estate application to submit to the Corps of Engineers because I haven't completely given up. I needed some costs. That's why I finally talked to them today and got some costs. They think it would be between $500,000 and $750,000 to build new covered moorage in that spot. Whereas this would cost us about, I'm guessing, maybe $125,000 to make this swap. But we'd be swapping moorages that are covered, they don't have the light pass through, and they do still have tires as the flotation, which of course are no longer preferred. So my request to the Corps will be for them to just let us make the swap and not make us try to comply with the newer environmental rules where you can't have tires we can certainly replace the tires over time, but for now, we'd just like them to let us make the swap. So now that I have that financial information, I'm gonna submit the real estate application to the Corps. See what happens, but we needed to do this by July 1st, so I don't see it happening. It's very sad,
I know,
but
keeping our fingers
Yeah.
crossed, there still might be hope, but,
yeah.
you will continue to do that.
Yep, so I'm gonna let Joanne give us updates.
Okay. They look like they're busy, but, yeah, so Holly and I are back, and,
Here they
We,
come.
Have a good group of employees this year, so Caitlin was in, I know she introduced herself to you, I don't think any of you better. But this is Brian and Jen, they're just the two newest that we've got here, and our new head cook Gabe.
Yay. It's always hard to find a cook. Yay.
We've got, Gabriel is local from the hatchery, and we've got two other local people, Annie and Jacqueline, who are also from Starbucks working with us. And then Caitlin and Tony, some of you may know Tony Woolridge, he's just an excellent go-getter, so we've got an excellent staff this year, and I wanted you to meet him.
Cool. Thank you for working here. We appreciate it. Very much.
Yeah, update from us, we've just been we've got the park again up for sale. And we have 3 interested buying parties that are talking with our broker right now, getting stuff in place, and so hopefully we'll have a bid here from one of them in the near future. 2 of the parties are local, Walla Walla, Waitsburg, area, and one of them is not, so.
I spoke with Ryan at length yesterday, Ryan from Seattle,
Oh, yes,
and then he asked for information, so I sent him
okay,
copies of leases today, copies of annual management plans, camping report. Copy of the core lease so they could see the underlying lease. Talk to him at length about the government,
okay.
the government interface, because I think that's the part that people have the least familiarity with and need to understand if they're gonna make it work.
So what all of them have asked is that Walt and I, our original plan this year was to come back. We had rented a site. We were gonna be here for the summer as campers to enjoy our boat. We went to campers too. But, we ended up back in the ownership role. So, they have all asked if we could stay on at least for a month to train them, and we've said yes, we will agree to that.
At least a month.
We will be
Please
here
go
longer
ahead.
than that. So be here until after Labor Day, so they'll have us till then. And then they all were very, very appreciative of that, so we're not gonna just sell it, run like dogs. You know, they'll be able to get a hold of us if they have any questions. Other than that, things are going well. We're looking forward to, school is now out in a lot of places, so we're gonna start seeing a lot of business pick up. Father's Day weekend is this weekend. We're full for Father's Day. I think we're full for the weekend after. We've advertised on our Facebook page all the stuff going on for All Wheels Weekend, because we get a lot of people that stay here and they run into town for that type of stuff, which is really nice. And then we're starting this year, we're gonna be doing, buffet style dinners Friday and Saturday night, and then buffet breakfasts. Probably this one buffet breakfast. This is Gabriel's first day, and I said, we're
It's his first day. Oh
yeah,
my
we
goodness.
have to cook the porch.
Awesome.
Yeah, we threw him to the wolves
Yeah.
tonight, but he's doing an awesome job. And breakfast, I think we're looking at starting those maybe a couple weeks down the road. We have to get staffing and all that kind of stuff worked out, but.
Cool.
Any questions?
I sure appreciate you coming back, Joanne.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, you're welcome. We could not come back. We want to see this place succeed.
And it's nice that there's interest in the,
Yeah.
interested buyers. It's
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't even have to put it on the market. Which was amazing.
Yeah.
You know, we had people coming to us saying, we're here, you're gonna sell.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it for Lions Parade, then we'll go on to Blue Mountain Station.
Okay, so regarding Main Stem Malt, we have drawings. I sent some of them in the packet, but I did kind of want to share some more. That's why we brought the TV tonight. So I could just run through them a little bit and other people could see them. See here. So this is a shot of the inside, and these are the big pieces of malt equipment, these are the kilns. And this is storage outside. don't know if I could make that any bigger or not, still see it. Yeah, let's see. I'll just arrow down, maybe it'll work this way. Oh, I'm on page 29 already. Did I start at the end? Oh, I guess I started at the end for you. There, there is so this is if the building were built, there's a couple of different possibilities for the roof. This is what it would look like if it was a gabled roof. But the other option that we're really talking about and kind of like is the idea of a single slope roof that would allow for full use of solar panels if desired, which Phil does have that desire. So I think there's a picture later on that shows it with the slope. And also costs a little bit less in building materials. I asked him if the trade-off in making the walls not the same height, if you still save money, and they said, yes, you would, so. Let's see. That's boring stuff. There's a picture of these are the kilns, the 3 big kilns inside. These are this is office space in the front. Ugh, stupid AI stuff is popping up all the time. More drawings. There's the site. So, there's building number 2. So this is where the Craft Malt, building will go. There shows some of the traffic pattern. We've had lots and lots of discussions about the traffic pattern because we're trying to, account for the center, the road, the Artisan Way that goes down the center of the site is really more public facing and more for customers, and whereas the trucks, we kind of want to keep them on the backside on Harvest Drive. We also have to keep access to the rail spur available because Phil does want to use rail for shipping in and out. So lots of discussions on traffic flow and truck size. So there, I don't know what that is showing. Waterworks. So there would be, this is grain storage, so this would be grain in. This is malt storage, so this is grain in, it's gone through the process, coming out the other side, malt storage out here. There's a truck bay, there's truck bays at both ends. And from side views. Craft equipment is tall, so it does need to have a tall ceiling. There's the one where we're talking about the single slope roof. On both and the piece, the small piece on the one side is office space and a craft malt or a malt roasting space. There's a side view which shows the sloped roofs. Anyway, very fun, doing a good job. They had a cost estimate done. The architecture and engineers had a cost estimate done. It came back a little high, so we meet every 2 weeks and we're meeting tomorrow morning, and the discussion tomorrow morning will be how we trim, reconfigure whatever we have to do to make the estimate come closer to what we need.
Excellent. I'm glad it's going forward.
Very exciting.
Okay,
Now you just need a big brewery right beside them so they can just
There-
type.
there you go.
Malted grain.
That's right, that's right. The other good news is that we put in I put in a request to, I think it was just Senator Cantwell this year, for a congressional directed spending request. It's called, and I had done it last year and we didn't make the cut I paid a grant writer to do it last year and we didn't make the cut. This year I did it myself and we made the first cut. So that's very exciting. So Phil actually has some farmers lined up and they're gonna follow up. And with all 3, both senators and Representative Baumgartner, and kind of put some, just tell people how important it is, tell them how important it is, and hope that that would be money that would really help the whole project. We asked for 2.5 million for matching funds, because Phil is having to put in the matching funds, so that would help defray part of what he has to put in. Be very helpful to him. I'm working with Phil right now on a grant application with that company called Stepwell for money that would help us develop the bigger grain cluster. So it would be a pretty big grant, $500,000, and it is about marketing. So it would really help us develop the supply chain, distribution channels, and market the site. So I have no idea if we'll get it, but we're trying. And I think that's all. Oh, one more. The pasta company, I think I told you that I was not happy with the state because I had talked to them about their strategic reserve fund, which is money that is just strictly for recruiting companies from out of state. And I wanted to help bring the pasta company here. And they said we didn't create enough jobs, which is 14, which for us is huge.
Yeah.
And the Department of Commerce came to the port and did a listening session. And so that was one of the things we shared. And she went back and talked to them again, and they did reach back out to me and invite me to go ahead and apply. So I think they're reconsidering how important 14 jobs is to us, community our size. But I can't do that till after July 1st.
Okay.
Okay, I think that's it for, anything else at Blue Mountain Station I'm forgetting?
Food stock's coming up,
Yes, in July,
July
good
7th.
stuff, 19. We're not gonna talk about that anymore till after All Wheels.
It's at Blue Mountain Station.
Yes, yes.
Okay, let's talk about TWW Railroad.
Okay, so before I talk about the list, I did want to say I also got a separate call from Cantwell's office. Asking about rail funds and what kind of funds our rail line could use. So that was a surprise. I didn't know where that came from, but they're trying to just understand what infrastructure needs there are around the state. And it was one of her aides. And so I was able to share with them kind of the status of the line and what we'd like to see happen to it, what needs to happen to it. So that was good.
Good.
Okay, so the list. So as I told you in your in the packet, I got a public records inquiry after the last meeting that asked for the document in progress. That is certainly not the way I want to submit it to the public. So, but I had to, so I thought I might as well just share it with you then. So as you can see, the history of the rail line, I've made pretty darn good progress on that. I just have a couple little things I need to look up. And then I'm trying to source things. So that's another thing I'm trying to work on is where not every word I write can be sourced because some of it is my experience. But when I can source it, I'm trying to. How is the railroad currently being used? This is part of the information that I have requested from the rail operator. We do have copies of their performance reports for each year, but they're pretty sparse. And I just wanted to give them the opportunity to, in their words, what they're using it for right now.
Okay.
And then the car storage, we'll see what they say about that, but he did say something in a meeting, so I was going to look that up. Potential and future benefits and uses of the rail line. I have been, started writing this one up. It is weird, isn't it? It's the only one. So talking about freight, talking about the Snake River dams. And actually just last week, I was approached by some Walla Walla tourism stakeholders about the idea of a tourism train. It's not the first time we've heard it, but it's really the first time I've had any people from Walla Walla who really seem to want to investigate that at a deeper level. So I will find out more about that and write and add it to this report. How is that impacted by the sale of the rail or right of way? I don't know if there's really any more I can add there, but still in progress. I'm going to add information about all the utilities and fibers to letter B, and then the transportation corridor section. I had made progress on what transportation corridors cost what it would cost to try to replace this, and some considerations, for any kind of, replacement of a corridor of this magnitude. And I'm sourcing that. What benefit does the port derive from selling? The most, one I've discovered so far is that we would receive money. I don't know, the staff time is not much of a savings at this time, and I am going to explain to you what we do now, what management we're doing now, and the right-of-way management company and how that has changed, how much we have to manage, because it used to be a lot more. So I will explain all of that right there. I've jotted things down, but it's not complete. Number 5 was sent to the rail operator for response. 6, I will add the rental history, but I've asked them to summarize their improvements and maintenance. Number 7, I sent that entire section to the consultants, to RL Banks, and we do have an agreement, and they told me they could get us that information by hopefully June 30th, but no later than July 15th. Number 8, Kim is going to answer letter A. Letter B, I am going to reach out to Tacoma and find out their process with Paul and any other processes that I can find that have any existing sales that I have can find data on. Kim will answer letter C, and then letter D, I've asked CWW to tell us what they would be willing to pay. And then number 9, I will talk again more about port management. That's almost a little bit of a duplication there, isn't it? I will talk more about the burden on the port. Number 10, I have all the grants that we've gotten. I just have not put them in a list yet. I have to go through the files. RL Banks will help answer number 11. And then number 12, I thought I would reach out to the Corps of Engineers and the Northwest Grain Growers and the Pacific Northwest Waterways Association. Those are all entities that deal with shipping on the Snake River and might have more information on whether or not budget cuts are affecting the operation of the dams. And then I put a copy in here, the letter that I sent to CWW and the letter to RL Banks. And that is my update.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's
Good information. I appreciate it.
perfect. It's what we're looking for.
Okay,
Decent progress and that's, like it.
Very good. thank you.
Appreciate the work on that.
Thank you.
And with all the other stuff you're doing that we've listed off today,
Yeah.
that's pretty regrettable.
Okay, if there's nothing else about the railroad, we'll move on to broadband.
One other thing on railroad, I forgot. This is for Commissioner Springs' sake. The state is working on a state rail plan, so I attended one of those workshops. And really what they are looking for are planned projects, not wish lists, planned projects. So I'm having to work through the Walla Walla Valley MPO for that crossing replacement on Highway 124, because it's in Walla Walla County.
Yeah.
So instead of the RTPO, the Palouse RTPO, I have to use Walla Walla RTPO. So as long as that project is on the STIP, which that's what they're doing for us, it will be in that rail plan.
Good.
So, and I reached out to them, and it just seems like that's all we need to do as far as I can tell.
Okay.
I don't know what didn't you and Shane listen to one?
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
I attended the one on the transportation and rail.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you glean anything other than what I'm saying?
No.
Okay. Yeah, it was pretty
Vague.
big, yeah,
Yeah.
very big, yeah. Okay, that's it. Thank you. That's all for the railroad.
So we'll go on to broadband then.
Yes, so we did submit our application to Curb for the emergency 911 extension and fiber to the home in Starbuck, and we met the threshold and have been invited to attend the July 17th meeting, which if you know Curb, that means they're gonna give us the money. So
Good.
I guess I shouldn't say that out loud, but so I'm working with the county on their match portion because they need to put in some match and they're working on it. So that is all good news.
Good news.
Yes. The other weird news that came so late today, it didn't even make it on the agenda, is that remember we talked about the BEAD funding for so long? And I told you that an entity, a private entity applied at the same time we did, and where they were apparently awarded the whole, yeah, half the state. Well, today, the federal government sent down new guidance on the entire grant application, and the state is almost having to start over. They're asking for, you can resubmit your application, or you can change your application. The negative part is, and I blame this on lack of understanding, not on an effort to hurt rural communities. But what they're doing is rolling back the changes that were made in this that keep us from getting a company like a Viasat, who, it's the slowest internet in the world, but they get federal funds, they say they're serving your county, and that's what the federal government believes is happening. And it's terrible service and nobody can get any good internet. So the way the feds in the state were going about it this time, that was not allowed. You had to do fiber to the home or something that met certain speed requirements, and they have now undone it all. So we're back to cheapest bidder. It doesn't have to be fiber. So it's very disappointing. Yeah. I've not addressed it with our federal
As long as you have,
folks yet, but I'm going to.
as long as you have a copper line in your house, you're okay.
That's probably yeah, it's really quite shocking. Yeah, I haven't even talked to Kara and Calvin about it yet to see what they think. But, so basically that company that was awarded the project in the first round, that award has been rescinded. So that private company has to figure out what they're gonna do. So, very bizarre. Okay, that's it there.
All right. Moving on to number 3, community economic development, beginning with staff reports.
Okay, so, I've been calling it Project River Spark is still, that's the renewable energy project. It still seems to be marching forward, still no firm decision on whether or not they're gonna locate here, but they're doing environmental reports. I think I reported that last month. Or doing environmental studies on the parcel that they're looking at. I have a real estate developer I'm meeting with next week who's been asking a lot about the land in this area, Lions Ferry, and power, and how much power there is. So that leads me to believe it's probably a data center, but I'm gonna meet with them next week and find out. I just got elected to president of the RTPO for 2 more years, and then I can't serve anymore. ADO funding, there's the depressing one. The state did, the Department of Commerce came out with their recommended funding model now that the ADO funds have been cut, and they absolutely slashed the rural communities. We got up to 30% cuts, and the bigger places, some of them even got more money. And they claim that the AG's office says they weren't following the funding formula correctly, and so they're trying to correct it. But to do that to our poor little communities is just crazy, 30% cut to Columbia County and a 30% increase to Whatcom County. So we've been talking with them in hopes that they can sort out a way to make it a little bit more equitable, but it would probably knock us down to about 51,000 in economic development funds from the state next year instead of 75. So
That's a big cut.
yeah, it is. And let's see, All Wheels, we are hot and heavy into All Wheels. So as soon as we're done with this meeting, we're pretty much just doing All Wheels the rest of the week. Tracy has been doing a great job with registration. I've roped Shane in. He has to help me with everything. And I think that's it for me. We did go to the WPPA conference, but I'll let Shane talk about that a little bit more. I'll let Shane talk about that a little bit more, and you, if you want to, anything. I don't think I took anything away from it that was astonishing. I don't know about you or.
I got some pretty good contacts with the railroad.
Yeah,
I
with
was
railroad
gonna-
stuff,
I was
yeah.
gonna talk about the Washington Seaport Association and,
Okay,
but when it's my turn on task
Okay.
force.
all right. I'll let Shane talk.
All right, Commissioners, thank you. On the economic development front, I am working on two projects, Project Clean Slate. I mentioned it before. It's a retail oriented business. They went to their bank today for funding and it looked pretty good. I helped them with some tourism-based numbers, and they've been working with Paul from the SBDC. Project Palette is another, community-oriented retail. And that person is just in the beginning stages. I've connected them with Paul as well. So I will connect back with them next week, once we're through the car show, to kind of see where they're at. Both of these projects will take vacant buildings. One of them is a true albatross of a building. And so they turn it around, and which is pretty exciting for the downtown core. As Jenny mentioned, we attended the WPPA conference. Probably the highlight for me was listening to all the different tariff and trade conversations and the classes that or sessions that we sat through. And what one person's idea of tariffing versus another person's, and then trade and how it all worked together. Probably the most interesting was as Commissioner Spring is referring to, the Northwest Seaport Alliance. They have a vacant dock. And so, of course, everybody's thinking that, oh, no, the ships aren't coming in. Well, what the guy finally came out and said is, oh, no, we don't have a lease on that dock, so it's not being used. And so people are just assuming that the ships aren't coming in. So they also said there was a lot of front loading. So the containers were being shipped before the tariffs hit. And of course, as we know, the tariff thing is volatile day to day. So that was interesting. The networking, I haven't been to a conference in a long time, and the networking was great. Getting to meet people and see what other ports are doing. Probably the most interesting one is, I can't remember which port it was, but they have a abandoned boat or a boat recycling campaign where you can turn your boat in and this group will take it and strip down and recycle all the recyclable pieces and send it off. So we got to talking with our history of RVs showing up on port property, that maybe we could come up with something for RV recycling. When we had the issue with the RV down at the industrial park, when we called Kyle, Kyle explained that he didn't want to take them because it cost him money to get rid of them.
Said about 6,000 per vehicle, because it has to be recycled. And the gas tank has to be dealt with, and the gray water tank has to be dealt with in a certain way, and.
So, interesting, something to maybe look at in the future.
You had another RV park down on Laurel Road.
Yes, we did, and thank goodness it was, so I called the sheriff. Then I happened to be coming through on Saturday and saw somebody in it.
Yeah.
So I stopped, and it was a legit, one of the social workers at the hospital was helping a person who needed a place to live.
It wasn't a band.
Hook up with yes, so
Okay.
that one worked out okay, yeah. But I was nervous for
Yeah.
another one.
Well, look at you come with a challenge and go to a solution.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like it.
yep.
We just have to find the money, it's because there is a derelict vessel fund at the state of Washington for boats. We do not know of a derelict RV fund, but there needs to be. It's happening everywhere.
If we put pontoons on the side of the motor homes.
Call it a
Call
boat.
it a boat.
It should be, because they charge you on your licenses, when you license an RV for,
Oh, yeah.
people that do abandon them.
Is there a
So-
fee related?
Yeah,
Okay.
when you license, there is a fee that they charge for related
So
to.
maybe there's a fund. Yeah, I think somebody at the conference may have said there was a fund. Yeah. But it really is a problem. Kyle said it's a major problem. He's got piles of them already, and he just doesn't want to take any more.
It's growing all around some scenario, so.
Even if you partner with surrounding counties, like Walla Walla or what have you,
Mhm.
and we're able to, a spot to take stuff like that.
Yeah.
Would be a big help. So,
Yeah, instead of it just being abandoned on somebody's property that doesn't know
Yep.
what to do with it. Can't. Yeah, people fill them with garbage and leave them behind.
Yeah, they're not pristine.
No, the one that was abandoned was completely full of garbage.
Hmm.
So,
It's now,
but it drove away, so we don't care where it went, it's off of port property. Um. Dayton Days, excuse me, historic Dayton Days was a very good success, so the consortium worked. It was the port, the chamber, the historic Dayton Days committee, one of the Dayton Days committees. The depot got involved, the Liberty Theater got involved. It was a great weekend, and so we were able to not charge admission to anything. And so that was a huge hit on Saturday afternoon. Friday was a little light, but Saturday afternoon was great. So we're excited about how that went. Working on, I'll pass one and we can do a little show and tell. Pass one down, and so we launched the sesquicentennial that we've been talking about. So this is the 150th anniversary of Columbia County. And we have a fantastic group of people that are involved in the planning. Someone from every,
Museum,
the museum,
school,
the pool, the county, several people in the county. The city. We're trying to get someone from Starbucks, so, but we kicked off and there you can see, what we were trying to accomplish in the bottom 4 photos here is kind of a walk through time. So we started with the horse and buggy. Then we went to the kind of older tractor. Eric is very proud of that tractor. And of course, then we followed up with Broughton Squad Track. So that was kind of our walk through time on the agriculture level. And I'd really like to thank Bo Stevenson for whipping this design out for us.
I gave him 1 week.
And he just nailed
that's
it.
great.
And so the first design did not have the train in it. And we both agreed that it should have a train in it. So he sent us a message and said, I put the train in, but it looks like I just dropped it in there. And we were like,
Nope.
you
good to
dropped
me.
it in there just right. So, and then I was able to sweet talk the fair board into changing the fair theme to match the sesquicentennial. So we have looped this all together. So that was the kickoff. We'll be at the car show. The fairport will be at the car show. We'll have a display at the old Wanaha building. We'll be in the alumni parade. And then we will wrap it up during Christmas kickoff. So we will have some
That's the actual date of the
Oh, awesome.
information. I think it was like November 29th. Yes, right on Christmas kickoff.
And so from there, we will hand it over to the chamber. And the chamber will begin to work on the semi-quintennial, which is the 250th anniversary of
Of the United
the United
States.
States.
Yeah.
So. This is probably the most exciting part of this report. We are done with business boosters. 14 classes later, it started off really good and unfortunately ended really soft. And Jenny and I and Tracy agree that it's probably just
It's just too many.
too many, too much, moved into summer where people are out of school and moving on vacation and stuff. But it is done. I will finish the paperwork. It has to be submitted by next Monday. So during my breaks at the car show, I'll be working on grant paperwork. And then I can shift my attention back to the grant cluster. So, and help Jenny with some of that. The only other thing I am still working on is the vacant building profile. So that when we have people come to town, like our Project Clean Slate and Project Palette, we can match them to buildings.
Okay.
And so that's what I did with Project Clean Slate. The building that they're working on now is the 3rd building. So we went building 1, building 2, and now we're back. And he moved on his own, so I didn't realize that. I thought we were talking about building 2, and so, but when it comes to.
Do I know the right building 3?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's been a fun project, but having the details for those buildings. That
In a
if you walk in the
spreadsheet.
door and I can hand it to you and say, here's the price, here's the taxes, here's all the things. Here's what the building needs for repair.
Mhm.
This is one of the things that I brought back from one of the conferences. They want you to list what's wrong with the building. And so that way, someone doesn't go into this blind and, we can help them along with, help them with their fact finding. So they can make good financial decisions on bringing up their system. So,
Yeah, that's good. That's what I generally call a one pager.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Give me what I need to know. And then we'll figure out the details in that. So that's good.
and it will map up nicely with the, if we get to a QR code project. Where we have the history on each of the buildings in downtown, so we can put that with that profile, so they know. This was Dr. Day's building, or, you know, this was the Weiner's building, so,
Let's go.
so you never know on it.
Not in our office.
Well, I like that. That's good to see that we're looking at those, and at least from I mean, we can't solve all of it, right? But at least we're providing somewhat of a solution for some of these vacancies and getting the town where it's vibrant, you come through it, type deal. So, I appreciate that immensely. So, for sure.
That's my report. Any questions?
Because that's what's gonna bring a bunch of this other stuff. When they come through and go, man, this looks like we know what we're doing here. And we don't have a bunch of emptiness going on, so, which produces more stuff, which builds more stuff.
Right.
Which,
That's why having a healthy downtown is really important. It really helps the entire economy.
it is.
That's why communities put so much time into their downtowns. Yep,
Right, well, thank you. And I was gonna ask you who did that.
Who's that?
I was like, man, that's spot on.
I know, right?
Yeah, I like it.
Mhm.
Okay, do we have anything on housing?
Just noticed in the newspaper that, remember, we had the Common Roots organization come and speak with us, and they got a grant and bought I don't know how many, but bought some lots in Waitsburg. So I think they're looking to try that model. You know, that was the model where they keep the houses affordable. They could keep control of the land, but go ahead and sell the house at an affordable price to someone who then can live there, and then when they leave, they can sell it, but the price can only go up so much so that it remains affordable. So anyway, I thought that was interesting to see that they're gonna do it next door. I'll be curious to see how
it goes.
if they can get building done or not, but the cost of building is just insane.
It's crazy.
Yeah. But that's it.
Okay. Commissioner Spring, you're up. What do you have for the Dayton Development Task Force?
So this year, a record amount of grants were asked for and granted. Pretty impressive number of people are trying to improve their facades of their buildings. And still a work in progress. I mean, all the applications are in, but they're trying to work with the owners to make sure they meet the standards that we have. I just wanted to talk about the conference that I attended. Excellent conference, lots of good networking. One of the big contacts I had, and I didn't realize it, they have designated Wallula and Lewiston as seaports because they can accept sea traffic, which is unusual for all over the country to be
I
considered.
mean,
sea-
inland, that part inland, yeah.
And I talked to the, I don't know what, director of the
The Seaport Alliance.
Seaport Alliance, yeah, and talked to him about our issue of not being able to get grain to Wallula, off our short line, and he goes, that doesn't sound right. So I've contacted him and haven't heard back from him yet, but said, can you look into this? Why is there a gap between, they'll allow organic grain out of Prescott onto the rail, but they won't just allow the regular grain. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And I think maybe between them and the grain growers may have some pressure to be able to put on Burlington, right?
UP.
UP, sorry, I always confuse which one is which. To put on UP to work with our operator to make it possible to get regular grain cars onto the rail. And it may mean handing the cars off to them, take them down the track and then they have to hook up
Which they
there.
can't, he said he can right now, but he said the cost is exorbitant. That was what Paul complained about. He said UP wanted to charge him so much, it didn't make sense. That's what he told me.
Well, there's a lot of grain,
Yes, there is.
and it would help them if they could move just our regular winter and summer wheat onto the main track. So just a contact, and if anything comes of it, I'll hand it off to Jenny, because I'm not the director of the port. I just happen to meet the guy and shake his hand and he got his car. So I don't remember anything else that was, we spent a lot of time on facade grants. during our-
Yeah, at task force, we did the
Yeah.
whole meeting,
Yeah,
80,000.
$80,000.
yes.
8 different businesses, each getting about 2,000.
All of them downtown or?
Yep.
Yeah.
All in the pork.
So the sod grant, it's from the viaduct, had it, all the way down to the bridge,
Tissue River Bridge, yeah.
Yeah.
the Sugar Bridge, so
What's time frame for using that grant
November 30th.
this year?
Yeah,
It has to be done in place.
Yep.
yeah, it's a reimbursable grant.
Yeah.
That once they've done the work, then they can
Mhm.
get the money.
Last year, there was an anomaly, Bo and Alicia had bought windows to put in locally nourished. And when the windows came, they were 2 inches too tall. And so that caused a major issue, and they had, it was 6 to 8 weeks to get the new windows in.
Mhm.
So there was a bit of a rollover there,
We got them in.
but the task force had accepted that.
Yeah.
But it changed the inside of that building. Something so.
Mhm. It is.
Yeah,
Big difference.
very different, less noise.
Yeah, less road noise and
Less utilities.
warmer.
Yeah, less
it's
utilities.
just warmer and cooler.
Well, good.
Yeah.
That's really all I have to do for that. That's all.
Thank you.
Now, did the business owners put in for all those or do they get help from like the task force or?
They apply.
Or?
There's an application form.
So
Yeah,
they-
they apply.
Ken
Mhm.
Graham, though, has sat down with
Yeah.
each individual, and made sure their application was correct.
Yeah.
And explained.
Yeah.
That they have to have a contract.
Yeah.
To do the work.
Yeah.
It has to meet,
Has to meet some standards.
yeah, city codes.
Oh, yeah.
And we kicked a couple back, that had, they wanted signage for their, for the street, and that's not applicable use of the fund,
Mhm.
so. Yeah, no, it's good.
Good.
Yeah,
It's a good program.
Well, that brings us to the end. Does any of the staff or commissioners have anything else they'd like to add?
No, other than thank you all.
Yeah.
We're going to that, going to your classes, juggling all balls. So we appreciate that. We get to come here once a month for an hour or so and basically see the work and hear about it. But you guys are the ones in the trenches, so we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Or,
Thank you,
I think we speak on all of us that we
Yeah,
appreciate.
Absolutely.
thank you.
And all your people that helped you too, because I know it takes a village.
It takes a huge.
Thank you. This time I will open the meeting up for any final public comment. Is there any public comment in the room? Any public comment on Zoom? No, with that, time is 6:04 and we will call this adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Very good, thank you. Stop. There we go. Stop.
So the folks, for you folks that are staying for dinner, it's a buffet style dinner, so head up to the desk and